Scottish one is not working.
Hey.
I think it's me. To take the problem with the mics.
Okay. Cool. Everybody's online.
Bam, bam, bam.
Perfect. Sound check. Hello and welcome to our panel about the future of festival. It's not going to be only about the future. We're going to start, maybe in the past, wander a bit in the present and see a bit what's next. We have a very interesting panel in terms of guests, people with a combined experience of, I don't know, hundreds of bands and thousands maybe of concerts, with a large variety of approaches toward events, communities, and festivals. My name is Vlad. I'm going to be the host and the moderator. I will go for an open discussion so everybody can intervene when they seem fit or they want to share some insights. If we have enough time, we can also take questions from you, but please keep them for the last part of our discussion, okay? I'm gonna let our guests introduce themselves for 1 minute because it's very hard for me to put in 20 seconds a career of event organizing. So I'm gonna pass the responsibility. Can we start with Guido here?
My name is Guido Janssens. I'm a managing partner in EEMUSIC. I'm replacing my wife Laura, who was supposed to be on the panel, but a combination of post-stress after the Depeche Mode show in Cluj and the fact that our son is celebrating his birthday today, and as a
Happy
mom,
birthday.
Thank you. And as a mom, she wanted to be there. I'm replacing Laura. We started Best Fest in 2007, which is now a defunct festival, but which was created as a major festival. And after a break of 3 years, we are putting together a new festival, which is a completely different kind of thinking behind it, which is supposed to be a boutique festival on 1, 2, and 3 September in beautiful Transylvania near Târgu Mureș.
Thank you. Grímur?
Yeah, hi. My name is Grímur Atlason. I come from Iceland. I run a festival there called Iceland Airwaves. It's been going on since 1999, so this year, November 1st to November 5th, it's the 19th edition. We showcase bands from all over the world. Our focus is, of course, Iceland and Icelandic music, but we do, as I said, a lot of foreign bands as well. I come from, I started this business, when I was in high school, 1987, so I've been doing stuff since now 30 years this year. Thank you.
And Thomas?
Hello, my name is Thomas Schiefkowitsch. I come from Austria. We are a concert and festival promoter. I've done this job for 23 years now. We do festivals like Nova Rock, which is a 60,000 capacity, and Frequency, 45,000 capacity. These are the big festivals we do, but we also do smaller Nova Jazz and Blues Night. We do Lovely Days, Legends of Rock Festival, sort of that stuff. But we also promote around 500 shows a year, from very small to quite big. For example, I promoted 21 Pilots, who sold out the biggest indoor arena in Vienna 2 months in advance last November with 14,000 tickets, but I already promoted that band when they played 250 capacity. So we're a concert promoter, but I think we're also good at developing artists in Austria.
Thank you. Our first topic that I want to ask to develop a bit on, it's about community, because I think for most of the people here, a festival, the first festival that we heard about, were about community. Some people coming together, having, sharing the same passion for music, for a lifestyle, for some values, or against some values, or against the lifestyle. I don't know, talking about the legendary Woodstock or the birth date of big festivals. In the meantime, another way that we can see the relationship of festival with the community, it's very well demonstrated by Sibiu, who used to be like 20 years ago, like a pretty old dusty town, before starting with the jazz festival that now doesn't happen anymore, and then the theater festival, who dramatically changed basically for good the cultural landscape and the vibe even the brand of the city. So what I'm asking, is there, how important is for a boutique festival, and can we consider your festival a boutique festival, Grimil? How important is this relationship with the community? I understand that your festival is a successful story about branding a country, branding a city.
Yeah, I think we can say that. In Iceland, we are, comparing you have bad roads in Romania, but you still have roads that lead, you can drive from Romania to like any city in Europe. Iceland, you would have to swim or take an airplane. So for us, I grew up in a country of no beer, no television on Thursdays, and beer was banned. So, and there were no music as such. We had good music, but none of those bands were doing anything abroad from Iceland. So, like in the 80s, they were we only had like handful of bands that were coming, because Iceland was, it was exotic, but it was more than exotic. It was just like untouched. So music with merging of the Sugar Tubes and then Björk opened like kind of everything, and then airwaves came shortly after, not a long time after. And you can go back like 2002, we had 250,000 tourists coming to Iceland, and now we have 2.5 million tourists coming to Iceland. So I'm, of course I am not biased. I am biased. So, music for me has been one of the keys to this, the recognition of Iceland, and then thus community and the festival playing a big part. When we started, it was in an airport hangar at the airport, like 100 or 200 people came, and maybe 50 from abroad. But when we talk about this festival 1999, talk to some people, they all were there, even though they weren't. But they say, because it's a success now, it was in an airport hangar, like 6 bands playing. Now we are sold out. It's not a big festival, it's only 10,000 people capacity, but the community is all about it. We have off venue, which is like program happening in the daytime, free for everyone, and it's about 100,000 people attending that. So you can easily say that music plays big part in the community and changing the community. And Iceland Airways is a boutique festival, short version of mine.
What I really find amazing about your festival is the fact that it works like an open platform. You told me that you have like hundreds of side events that are part and without being part of the festival in the meantime. So I think that's the deepest relation that you can have with the community, to offer your platform to it.
It's dangerous. It's also dangerous, but we decided not to tap in on everything like you do if you go to the US, you know, it's all about dollar. And then if you branded something, I'm not going to name any festivals, but if you brand your off-venue thing with that festival, you have to pay. We don't do it in that manner. We decided that it's better to play along and to be like, let the grassroots like pop up. And if it turns out that the festival Iceland Airwaves is no longer needed, then it's just no longer needed. But there are dangers, like when we have 800 shows with like a lot of those bands that are coming, you could go and see, you know, big bands playing a small club for nothing, and they just like everybody, you know, that is walking can see that band, and you don't have to pay, you know, don't have to get a wristband. That is all, you know, that's kind of dangerous for my box office. But we decided, let's control it, but not too much. Give them like, you know, the opportunity to grow.
Guido, here I want to rephrase a bit, you know, this relationship with the community, because you, with BestFest, you were, I think, the first big Romanian, you know, try for a big festival, and it was, even if it was contested, it was a love brand for Bucharest, until it moved out of Bucharest. And then you did a very courageous thing. Basically, offered free entrance to the community, if I remember well, to the
local community. Yeah.
How did that work?
I don't know in hindsight if that was such a smart move, because the regular BestFest visitors didn't appreciate it very much, because all of a sudden there were grandmas with their chicken coming to the festival, just showing that they had a pass, that they were inhabitants of the community. There was a big gypsy community in that village as well, and you know, the relation between Romanians and gypsies is not always one of pure love and friendship. So a lot of people didn't appreciate that, but I thought it was our obligation, because it was, you know, we got the field put at our disposition by the town hall, and I thought it was only fair that the local people, which we started bothering there with our load-in and trucks and noise during the night, that we should pay them back by giving them free access to the festival.
And on designing this new festival that you're launching this year, is the first year, yes, for Awake. It's going to be a boutique festival, basically, with a specific selection of bands, you know, with a certain vibe to it, not a catch-it-all festival for sure.
Exactly.
How did how did you choose the Gumureș? And
okay, that's a nice story. So I think the mistake, I also told that yesterday in the panel of the morning, the mistake we made with BestFest, that we kind of felt like, come on guys, I mean, Romania doesn't have a huge international festival, there's a market for it, we can do it, and there was at the time in 2007, in terms of sponsorship, the sky was the limit. We had one sponsor paying €1 million to help the festival, and you know, we then, instead of using it smartly, we paid €1.3 million to acts, and then we overestimated the number of people that would pay a ticket. And festival in its first year lost €300,000, although again we had an amazing lineup and amazing sponsorship. But it was a festival that was kind of, if I can use that word, it's like we imposed it on the people. We put something big there, and we thought it would work. We thought that people from Bucharest would be just happy, and we would sell 25,000 tickets without any problem. In the end, it were like maybe 10 or 12,000 tickets. Of course, you fill up the venue with invitations from sponsors and stuff like that. So, long story short, we tried several approaches to BestFest, also moving out of Bucharest a little bit into the greenfield. That also, I mean, that started working better, but then we wanted to move it to yet another site, and then for that date and that site, we couldn't find a headliner in 2013, I think. And we decided to, you know, instead of having a mediocre Best Fest, let's not have it at all. We wanted first to take a break, but then we said, you know, do we really want to have a big festival like that? I mean, is it sustainable in Romania at this stage? And then we decided, one of the problems that we thought we had with Best Fest was the location. We decided that we would do another festival once we would find a new location that would be so perfect that it would we would consider it the headliner of the festival. More or less in that same period, we were approached by some young people from Târgu Mureș, where Târgu Mureș for years had a festival, Peninsula, which was a festival which was both serving the Hungarian and the Romanian community in the area, because it's in Târgu Mureș it's about 50-50 people of Hungarian and Romanian ethnicity. No, whatever. English is difficult. And those kids, youngsters, came to us and said, listen, you know, we were part of the fan club of Peninsula. The festival is gone now, but we want a festival there. Aren't you interested to help us putting together a festival? And we told them, if you find in the area a location, because we didn't like the Peninsula location, you know, then yeah, we can consider it. And they found this amazing location in Gornești, a 3,000 people's village, 15 minutes drive from Târgu Mureș, which we fell in love with, and which is perfect to, you know, the festival. Our target now is to have 5,000 people a day on the first edition. We have headliners, Rag and Bone Man, Tom Odell, Modestep, and then a number of Hungarian and Romanian top names. And but at the same time, the location gives us the possibility to, over the years, grow the festival step by step to a bigger festival, which it could host 15 to 20,000 people in the end. But we decided we do not want to create a festival for the people. We want to create a festival with the people, with the local community, and that's what we're trying to do now.
Okay. Moving to bigger numbers, let's talk first about Nova Rock, because it's the, you know, shining star that appears, like I told you, each year in my Facebook feed. You know, when Nova Rock headliners are announced, all my friends that are in rock bands are going crazy and, you know, organizing events and buying tickets and everything. So basically, how's your relationship with, let's say, your audience? Is there a loyal audience that returns each year? Do you have statistics or research in this direction? I'm really curious.
Well, it's in the meantime. I mean, we've been running the festival since 2005, and I think around 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we could get additional land to be able to restructure the whole festival site, and move the 2 open air stages closer to each other, which I think is key for Nova Rock's current success, because it's in a green field, so it's either dusty or muddy, and we had a bit of luck as well, because then they decided, the local government decided to do a wind park there, to have wind wheels there and stuff, and we already thought, okay, what will this do to the atmosphere of our festival? It's a catastrophe, and but then through the years, we grew trees and stuff, and now we have a camping site in a small forest as well, which has been growing all over the years. So with intention and a little bit of luck, because at the site there is there is an enormous sunset. If there's sun, there's an enormous sunset, and actually with those trees which we planted and the windmills in the background, it creates a really nice atmosphere in the meantime. And with the new stage concept and stuff, it contributed a lot to the current success we have in Nova Rock. We came a couple of 100 tickets short of selling out the capacity this year. It's the biggest success, and it's also the biggest success if you consider that 3 years ago a German company started a rock festival 1 week before our festival in Vienna, where bands like Rammstein and stuff played as well. And yeah, given this fact that we got targeted by somebody else, which is of course fair enough, because it's a free country and everybody can do what he wants, so it's absolutely okay. But we cope with it, and I think we reacted okay, and we're doing quite okay, which makes me quite happy.
So you basically built a new landscape for the festival. So it's next level, let's say, relationship with the place and with the environment. So you modified it, you know, planting trees and doing the landscaping for the festival?
Yeah, well, we built the whole town for a weekend, yeah.
How's the town react? How did the town react to the festival? You know, starting, 12 years ago?
There is no town. It's a small village. It's
village. Okay, sorry.
It's called Nickelsdorf, and it's in the border triangle of Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia. And I remember, because I grew up 30 kilometers west of the Iron Curtain, and there is a border crossing to Hungary. And I can remember when I was a kid, on the radio news, there were always traffic news, and on weekends there was always the message that there is a 5-hour traffic in Nickelsdorf leaving Austria. I mean, of course, in other border crossings as well. I mean, but especially in Nickelsdorf, and it's I can remember 10 years ago when I was standing there with one deputy of the local parliament, and we were standing there and watching Limp Bizkit, and then I said to him, I mean, this is happening in Nickelsdorf now. I mean, when I remember the news when I was a child, yeah, and I mean, I can't remember, I can't imagine how it was living in that village, because there was no, I mean, these days there is a highway around that village, yeah. But by then there was no highway, and everybody had to queue through the village, yeah? And I mean, imagine living in a village where on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays there is an eternal traffic in your village. I mean, it must be impossible to move there. It must be hell on earth to live on such a place, yeah? And I mean, in comparison to what happened some 30 years ago, I mean, on one weekend in the year, Nova Rock is one of the capitals, rock and roll capitals of Europe. Yeah.
Are people happy with it?
Of course, they are proud of it. Yeah, they are definitely proud of it. Even, I mean, some of them directly benefit, but the ones who don't benefit are also proud, because I mean, of course, it's a question of image, yeah, and yes, they are actually very proud of it. And I mean, the community, I don't know if we just provoke positive reactions, because last year during the refugee crisis, we have a backstage hall which we built. It's a permanent structure, and we leave it there throughout the year, and it's obviously not used. And during the refugee crisis 2 years ago, we gave away the hall for free to accommodate people there. So and obviously, I mean, there are mixed feelings towards these people. Not everybody welcomes refugees. But we didn't care about that because we considered it as very important, and this is why we did it.
Okay, so it's basically a very dynamic relationship with the community and all the people that are passing basically through that place. Moving back to the audiences, your festival was and it's still considered one of the hipster gathering, I don't know, trend-setting moments and places to be. And of course, this works to your favor because it allows you to attract new audience and to get media traction and everything. Is it a burden? You know, I'm thinking about social media. I'm thinking about the whole pressure, people reacting to your lineup that it's not hip enough this year or so. How do you manage this this buzz? You know?
Yeah, it's a good question because, of course, I concur. This is the hippest festival in the world. I would, you know, I do agree. No, it's also about like codependency. How codependent are you when you're doing stuff? And if you just listen to, it's like these echo chambers. When you're sitting in an echo chamber and you just get stuck into it. You see it when, like, politicians. They are politicians, populists now. They are stuck in their echo chamber and they're always reacting on what people are saying in social media. That is like the worst mistake you do. You can't listen to that because it's a small chamber and you have to go with your instinct. In a way, it's a burden of, you know, it's just like we are lucky enough to, as I said, it's an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's a volcanic island. We allow ship bunkers. People know that, and that spreads. And we're always kind of, you know, we have a football team that has done marvelous and stuff like that. And all this kind of, it builds up a reputation of a country. We have musicians all over the world. It builds up a reputation, and you have, you know, of course you have to live up to the reputation, you know. But in a way, living up to a reputation is not to. That is the key to it, you know. Just keep on doing what you're doing and believe in, because if you're gonna follow anything, you know, then you're not a leader anymore. Then you're a follower. So to do that would be the first mistake, and probably would be the beginning of the end. So that is how we kind of see it, and that's how I see it, and trying to work after, like, this is the philosophy. Like, you know, of course we have don't destroy the reputation, but, you know, don't be a follower.
Okay. You experienced the festival scenes from both parts, let's say, from the let's say the big festival organizing point of view, and now from the, let's say, independent boutique festival organizing point of view. Is there this binary vision about festival correct? Are they opposed? You know, the big festival and the small festival, it's David and Goliath, or they're part of the same ecosystem, basically?
It's another good question.
Thank you. I'll give you a beer for it.
As I said, when we set up Best Fest, our ambition was to create the biggest festival with international artists in Romania, and do it at a standard that in 2007 didn't exist was just emerging. I know, for example, that Codruța with her Armania Fest also from the beginning tried to do things at a certain level that until that moment was not really important or considered important in Romania. But that was, honestly, that was basically the only thought. It has to be big, it has to be impressive. And that is not the approach that, in my opinion, you can have with a boutique festival. This time we really, for us, it doesn't have to be big anymore. It has to be nice. It has to be, when people come into the site and see how it looks, without any artist being on stage, they have to feel great. They have to be amazed. That's actually what we want to achieve. And we want to be proud of what we did there. Whether it financially will work out or not, we want to say, well, you know, because in a way it's simple. If you have $1 million, $1.5 million sponsorship money, you know, you can basically get some big names to your festival. But to create something that is, now, for example, we are spending more money on the production than on the artists. We want to create that look and feel, that we want to create that feeling that people come in and go, wow. So it's a different approach. It's still, both of them are music festivals. Both of them are catering to people that like music. I do think that people go into boutique festivals, but you know, if their favorite act is at a major festival, they might as well go there and enjoy it.
Mm. But regarding this relationship between, let's say, a big festival or a bigger festival or a growing festival, like Electric Castle, for example, we don't have the speaker from Electric Castle with us, but we're going to address the subject of Electric Castle. Let's take this specific case. Both festivals are organized in Transylvania, yeah, not in the same time frame, but still. Do you see, let's say, Electric Castle as an audience developer for your festival or as a competition, let's say, for the festival, considering that the budgets of the public are pretty much restrictive?
No, I don't think so. I don't think those, I really admire what the guys from Electric Castle have been doing in the past 4 years, or, yeah. They proposed from day one to, maybe not a mega festival, but at least a medium-sized festival. They are, since 2 years, they have this competition in Cluj from the Untold Festival, which they decided to, which hurt them, but they decided to address it with just investing more in the look and feel also of the festival.
Yeah,
so
the experience. Yeah.
And the whole experience. So that's kind of a, I would say, boutique festival approach. Although, you know, big festivals as well, they have to invest and they have to create a look and feel that people feel good about. No, I think what we are doing with the Wake has very little to do with Electric Castle. I think there will be some people who will go to the two festivals, but what we are doing is a little bit, yeah, musically it's probably a mix between Summerwell in Bucharest and Electric Castle. Definitely nothing to do with what's happening at Untold. And trying to grab a little bit of the spirit of Peninsula and put our little magic sauce on top of it.
Okay, so a dash of magic. Magic. You're basically managing an ecosystem of events because you have Nova Rock, but also smaller festival, very niche festival. Like, how does this work together? If a big festival like Nova Rock is opening new audiences and introducing new audience to the festival scene, do you think that this would transfer to smaller festivals? Do you think that you create habits for the public?
No. Offshore festival like no rock create habits. It's each event is separate, yeah? And I mean, I think it's important that everything you do has a character and has an identity, and of course you have to be aware of what you're doing. I mean, as a promoter, I tried stuff where I site. It's one of the most beautiful festival sites I've ever seen. But somehow, I mean, we all grew out of that site somehow, and this is why we still did it. And it's obviously when we were running the festivals, there were no big major festivals, so the whole scenario in Austria changed drastically. Yeah, and obviously we also didn't react accordingly. So I mean, somehow that festival side lost a bit connection with the audience. Then 2 years ago there was a different promoter moving in, and somehow, I mean, they did an indie festival there this year with really big names, big names for an 8,000 capacity bands like J, Phoenix, Feist playing there, and it failed drastically. So
because it didn't have a character, because they didn't have a feeling.
It is honestly. I mean, it's. I cannot say why this happens. It's a miracle to me because I mean, a festival site is a festival site. Yeah, either you like it or you don't like it. Yeah, and if you don't like it, I mean, maybe there are good bands and you're still going even if you hate the site. Yeah, but if you have a nice site with good comfort, yeah, and everything, and it's got a marvelous atmosphere. It's hard to say why people don't go there anymore. Yeah, and I mean we did. I mean, it's 20 years ago we promoted Red Hot Chili Peppers in that place and stuff. There were really magic concerts happening and magic festival experiences. Yeah, and it's 50 kilometers south of Vienna. You can get there by means of public transport, and it's somehow that side completely lost the connection. And I mean, they canceled the contract with us, but it actually didn't make us very sad because the festivals we've been running there cost a lot of money for some time. Yeah, so actually it was. I mean, obviously it made us sad emotionally, but economically it was actually we profited from it. But then again, returning to the question, I don't know why, and it's kind of weird.
A tricky question for the three of you, in order to end this topic about the community. Can we have a festival formula that's plug and play? So can we take, let's say, Nova Rock and move it to, I don't know, Morocco. Let's choose another country, just Spain, for example. Would this work? Can we have a clone or a lookalike or a festival like this? That's impossible. And Rome. Okay.
It's wrong and it's impossible because I mean it's in Spain. First of all, people definitely favor other artists than in Austria, and what people like in Austria, people might dislike in Spain, and yeah, no, absolutely not.
In your case, can we have a hip festival on Malta or Cyprus or I don't know?
Yeah, definitely you can, but I doubt, this is really, because you can see there are like festivals, there are friend-sized. You have Sonar all over the world, you have Lollapalooza all over the world, you have like these things are happening, and some that
a certain degree of success.
Yeah, a certain degree of success.
Also some fail.
Yeah, some fail, I'm not a big fan of that. I would like, even though I know the people that are doing Sonar and Reykjavik and all that, and it's like, if I would like to go to Iceland Airwaves, I would like to do it in Iceland, and that is kind of like if I want to do Sonar, I would like to do it in the site in Barcelona. The same with Primavera. I would like to do it in Barcelona, even though they are in Porto as well. It's just like, but people, you can be a success. It can work out, but hip and cool festival, you can do hip and cool festival, I think, most places, if they're just hip and cool, and if you do it in the right manner. We can hear like people trying to do stuff, why they fail is probably because they're, as you described, you push them on, too hard, or you're trying too hard. It's so, you can feel it when people are trying too hard. There's something like, I know there are big shows happening in Iceland these months, and a lot of them are failing, and you can feel it. Like when you feel the desperation and the promoters, there is something like, I don't want to be a part of that desperation circus. I would rather like stick to the winners. That is how people react in a way. They try to stick to the winners.
So yeah, from your side, is there a winning formula?
Well, to answer your question before, I remember that Creamfields was, for example, a festival that was trying to branch out and licensed. I actually think they tried it a couple of years ago in Romania, where it also didn't work. I talked to Leon Ramakers last Sunday. No, Creamfields. Creamfields, yeah. No, and he was telling me about the guys from ID&T that had this Sensation brand, the Sensation Festival.
EDM. It's more like a party, I think.
Yeah, it's a party, but it was still, they have been promoting it outside, licensing it outside, and they said, in some countries it was successful for a couple of years, but if we draw the line, probably this whole licensing business, we lost money, because I really think, like you also say, as a promoter, you need to feel the concept. You need to know what you want to do, but you also have to have some link to the local community. I mean, for example, the festival that we are doing, actually the guys that approached us, the kids from Târgu Mureș, they are running it locally. We are asking them. We can give them ideas, but we are asking them, you think that would work here? And they come to us and say, well, we should do this. So I'm not, as a Belgian who came to Romania 10 years ago, or my wife who is from Romania, but still from Bucharest, we are not feeling the local community there as they do. So I think that would be a big mistake, just to, again, go there and do it our way,
Yeah, push a lineup and wait for the magic to happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think we can safely assume that you need a certain time frame in order for a festival or event to grow, to be, in the teenage years, it's like in every startup or every business, or even in doing a new job or a new thing. You need 3 years, maybe, or 5 years to reach a certain maturity. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I mean, with No Rock, when we started the first year, we had a festival for was 25,000, and we had bands. Funny, it was bands like System of a Down, Green Day, headlining, same bands that we had this year, and the next year we already grew to a level of 45 because we managed to get Metallica, and it was maybe this grew too quickly because obviously we also had some years of consolidation then as well, and maybe it would have been better for the atmosphere and everything. The way we have it right now would have been better if it grew constantly and not that quick as it grew. So yes, of course. I mean, it's even if it's a major festival, and obviously we will most definitely never be able to create an atmosphere as a boutique festival can do, yeah. Or for example, at the recent festivals, the site I was talking about before, yeah. But then again, we are concert promoters, yeah, and the main purpose of our endeavor must be to make more money than we spend. Otherwise, we will lose money, and nobody can live from losing money on a constant basis. Yeah, so it's no matter what you do. I mean, it should somehow make sense. Yeah. And obviously, it's not the money aspect there, because not only the money aspect there, because it's a job that we're doing, and it should be. I mean, I like music. I still like music, although I look towards music in a different way. And sometimes I hate myself that I can't just listen to something new. I must always listen to it, and then there is already the thoughts. Okay, could this work? In which context could this work? Can I get involved? What's the agent? Blah 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 and stuff. And I really hate myself for doing that. And just the other week, somebody of my old friends, he posted on Facebook something about the God Bullies. God Bullies were a noise band which never made it anywhere. I saw them in front of 50 people 30 years ago, and I mean, it was happy times. And sometimes I really hate myself for not being able to do that anymore. But then again, I mean, it's still emotional, and I love what I'm doing, and it's not only the money, yeah, because I can't eat all that money.
Okay, so keep a balance between emotional and professional in order to still enjoy it. Talking about success and performance, let's say, personal and management-wise, I would say. We were talking before the event. Can we measure, how do you measure the success of your festival? And we're not talking money here. So, yes, not money-wise.
No, it's, I think also it was a good, what you were discussing, like how you build an event and how you do it and you take time. I think we live in a little, I want to answer it a little bit, like
okay.
Also, I reflect, like I'm lucky enough to live in Iceland because, the big sharks, they don't look to Iceland. We haven't been approached by any, nobody it's a small market, it's a niche. So we haven't, I look at like, I even have friends that have been, doing stuff in some countries, and then suddenly some unnamed monster comes and, throws away money, like just pour them down the toilet just to get rid of competition, which is like fair enough and all that, but this is not, there are a lot of like, boring stuff, and not always is it really reasonable, or like it makes no sense how people are building events in most, in Europe, in Scandinavia as well. It's like, because Scandinavia was kind of untouched until like 5-6 years ago. Like Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and Denmark, and I can feel it. I can see it. It's coming closer. So I hope they will, like leave the pond alone and look at it as it's only 320,000 people. But of success, for me, it's for us. We have 3 goals, and we just like. We don't measure it only in how many tickets we sell, because we could, like, we lost money last year. We usually don't lose money. We are a non-profit organization, so it's not a. Of course, it is an issue. We can't lose money for years and years, but our success, we measured it in, like, we have 3 goals. We want to export Icelandic music, and that is our first goal. Our second goal, we would like to increase tourism in Iceland off-season. Means it's in November. So we want to get people to come to Iceland off-season. That's how we play with our sponsors, which is the airline company and the city of Reykjavik. And then we want to throw an event that somebody in Romania says it's hip and cool. So that's those 3. That's the only success we measure us, and we don't do it in like, of course we need to sell some tickets. If we don't sell any tickets, it's not our success. But it's also how we can see how people in Japan, how people in the US, because we get people all over the world, how they talk about the festival. So they are travelers, we love that, and then they reflect on the music, the Icelandic music. We can see that Icelandic music is everywhere, comparing to how small of a, it's the whole country is the size of this area, Sibiu, and probably like 10 kilometers around Sibiu, you have the whole population of Iceland. So it's rather fascinating to see how that is happening, and then just how people talk about the festival. So that is that's our measurement for success.
Cool. Guido, do you want to elaborate a bit on this, let's say, alternative objective of an event?
Well, it's a very personal one, because I think everybody in the team, in the EEMUSIC team, has a different approach to this. So, for me, I measure success by the happy faces that I see in the crowd. That's for me the moment when people come in and I see them having a good time. And even after all this time in the business, it sometimes makes me very emotional and brings some. And it has nothing to do whether we made money or not on a certain show. It touches me still on the soul. That at the same time that makes me realize it's a job, as you also say. In the end, it's we have to make our living with this. Not in your case, it's with an ONG, it's a little bit different. I have to pay the salaries, I have to pay the rent, and there should be still something left for me to travel to Sibiu and stuff like that. But yes, smiling faces, a happy crowd, and as little complaints from the crowd after the event as possible. That makes my day.
Okay. I'm sure that you have questions. If not, I have more questions, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask this gentleman here some specific questions, if there are.
Of course. I work for Eventi, which is a company that actually sells a lot of tickets of this festival you're speaking about. In the last panel, we heard from Roskilde that there is 8% of the audience actually come 10 times or more. Do you have actually numbers which says how long is a festival generation? I mean, when you get new people after how many years?
Can you rephrase it a bit? So,
okay. Well, basically, you have all the time new audience coming in, because people getting older, they don't want to come again, and then you have newer people coming up. Do you have actually numbers, how long one generation is, a festival generation, how many years that would be?
This is really interesting, because, and you mentioned Roskilde, because Roskilde was our festival. We didn't have any festivals in Iceland, so I came there 30 years ago for my first festival. I'm still like to go there. So I'm thinking I'm a unique, example, because I don't know. I think people, because the kids that started going to festivals 1980, even 1970, let's say 80 is kind of and it's been a boom of festivals these 20 years. It is an interesting topic to see how long the people will come. We have people coming to Airwaves that have wristbands up there 60 years old, and they have all the wristbands. So we have our studies say the newcomers to Airwaves, around 70% of the people that come to Airwaves, if they're coming from abroad, and that makes sense because people, it's a one-time journey, but still 20-30% of them are coming second time or more. So I don't know when they will stop, but I would like to get now people like myself, people turning 50 or something like that have been going to festivals since they were 15, 16. I think this is yeah.
In your case, do you have some numbers or studies in terms of returning audiences? Or?
Yeah, we just recently started to analyze that, and I mean it's for the Nova Rock Festival. I think we have a very loyal audience. And I mean, it's especially for Nova Rock, where we have an older audience. For example, like for Frequency Festival, Frequency is more the alternative festival, yeah? But for Nova Rock, it's definitely an older audience, yeah. And what I definitely realize, what's getting more and more, is that people go with their kids to the festival. I mean, the kids that at the age of 16, 17, 18, they go. More and more people that go just with the family to the festival. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Nova Rock is definitely no family festival, yeah, in a classic sense, yeah, but I think it depends on what music you represent, yeah, and then the age of festival goes varies. Depending on the sort of style of the festival you represent, yeah, and then they also go there at an advanced age of my age, for example. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of people at my age that still go to the festival, and I'm 45 years old.
I find it's an interesting question, but I find the question coming from you a little bit weird, because you are event team, you guys have all the data in your database, so you basically should be able to tell us on average how many people keep going. And
let's do a private panel on this.
Well, I'm not on the panel, so no, we know, of course, a lot of information which we share with you. But actually, the second question is referring to the first one. Is as you have a lot of fresh blood coming up to the festivals, how important is it actually also in the organization to recoup new ideas from younger people? I mean, do you do that actually? Do you scout new people who help you in your organizations, and you grow up new talents in this organization?
Okay, so open to new blood, looking for new blood.
Even though I'm perfect, I am. We all are here.
And you're from Iceland, so
I'm
you're
from
you're
Iceland,
double
and I'm
perfect.
perfect. I'm exotic. I'm exotic, hip, and cool. No, it's impossible to. I don't know everything. It's always been like when you have Aristotle, Aristotle, he said, or he allegedly said, he didn't, that the younger generation were going to hell. Everything was going. That has been the saying. That is it's in a default system. And when younger generation, my kids, they're all like, they don't work as we did and all that shit. So it's really important that you integrate younger people into your organization and do it like almost every year, because my ideas, they are all like, I'm shifting into Aristotle, the younger generation, they don't know shit and all that. That's been going on for like 30,000 years, because it's like, that is the younger lion, the older lion, and all that bullshit. So we need to integrate young people ideas constantly. Even though I think I know social media, I don't know shit.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, and I want to say, we had a pretty rough year in 2015, where we regrouped stuff and just got new blood into the company as well, and I had to lay off a couple of people as well, and we have a couple of some very talented people in our company, young people at the age of 25 now, and who I'm guiding in the company, and I must say I'm really impressed by the focus they have, because I can remember when I started as a manager of my best friend's band, and I knew shit about anything, and then we started to do a record release party, and so the whole thing came up, yeah, and I was a punk rock hardcore kid, and the most important for myself was to be against something and to provoke, when I see how focused these young people are these days, I'm really impressed, and it would be a shame if we didn't let them do their way and also take advantage of that, yeah. And obviously, it's I mean it's kind of like, I mean it's not only the young people. I mean, we have 50 people working for our company, yeah, employees, and we have people that have been in the company for 20 years, yeah. And obviously it's if you just look at social media, I mean, it's just recently we had a very open discussion with those 25-year-olds the other week, yeah, where they said, honestly said, yeah, the way they look at social media is different than a 16-year-old looks at social media. And I must also say, for example, for a frequency festival, we definitely committed mistakes in the past, yeah, which might have cost us a generation of festival goers because it's turning quickly, yeah, and the way a 25-year-old talks these days is completely different to a 16-year-old, yeah, and yeah, you have to accept that and react accordingly, I think.
Yeah, in that same sense, my 13-year-old son told me that, no, of course I don't want to have a Facebook account. That's for old people.
Yeah. That's true.
And yeah, I mean, I subscribe to what the colleagues say here. Yeah, young blood all the time. Listen to
Actually,
young
a week
people.
it's built based. It's built
Yes,
on
again,
young
that
blood,
the initiative came from there, and we're just trying to help with our expertise, with our knowledge. But you know, it's their festival.
We have time for one more question. I really want to be on time with the panel.
I have.
Do you have your own ideas, of course, but do you give them the chance to tell you what they want, to get directly ideas from them, or you only do it by indirectly?
Are you referring to the lineup?
No, the community, the crowd, the public.
Yeah, but listen for suggestions in terms of, I don't know, organizational
Anything,
vision or
lineup,
okay.
the experience itself, because the public is changing, and to adapt to that, you can either notice it yourself, allow new people, young people, like you said, to come into the organization with fresh ideas, or is there also a more direct way to do this?
We have decided that at our festival at the Wake, we will have an open platform where every morning the crowd can come to attend, and we call it meet the promoter. So they can come and, you know, talk about their experience from the day before, give suggestions. We just want to hear what the public has to say. So it will be part of the festival in our case.
Regarding this, you know, it's always healthy to have an open channel to people, but I have, you know, in my experience, it's sometimes there are dangers there. It's not like, you know, I'm not gonna sound like a dictator, or probably I do, but when I was referring to social media as well when I said, like, you know, the echo chamber, the you know, somebody might, like, you know, we have done it. We did it with metal in the early. They were really a loud group, and we tried to do a metal stage like for several years, but like the metal kids, even like they never turned up. They just shouted. They shouted a lot. It was the same in the early days of hip hop. They shouted a lot. We did, you know, it can be, there are dangers if you are too democratic and you're always listening, because who is talking? It's the loudest voice that you hear. It doesn't mean that that is the best voice to listen to, because it's just the loudest voice. I'm loud on Facebook. I have a huge Facebook account, and I say some political shit, and people, they really agree to it, but, you know, that's only 0.0.0.1 something portion of the people that agree to my opinions. But it feels like everybody agrees to me, but it isn't.
Yeah, well, I think there's a... Sorry.
sorry for interrupting you. I totally agree. You have to filter. You have to filter the information. Otherwise, it's completely useless. Yeah, I mean, because there will always be people that try to persuade you of something. Yeah, and then you have to see if it's makeable. Yeah, and obviously we always get criticism at our big festivals that we always having the same bands. Yeah, and then. But then I can remember exactly when we had Alt J performing at the small tent stage in front of nobody, and it was not that they were completely unknown by then, yeah. Or I can remember that White Lies played the same stage, yeah, and played in front of nobody, yeah. And we have a talent forum at Frequency Festival, which. Where the biggest problem is that where we present the new hot shit, there are hardly any people, yeah? And we ask ourselves why. And for example, we had one day at the Talent Forum last year was a hip hop day, and we represented German hip hop, which was packed every time an act played, and we had one international band playing there, which was Anderson .Paak, not completely unknown these days, and high quality entertainment, I think. And
great stuff.
Yeah, and but he was the only one who had a fourth of the audience than the other acts. Yeah, and then I asked myself, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's indeed a danger. What I was referring to is the people that came. So I want to listen to and I also explain a couple of things, because I think there's a lot of people, you have to tell them how things work. I mean, they have their own understanding of what we could do. They don't understand that there are certain things that we cannot do or that don't make any sense. So we would like at the festival to open that dialogue a little bit. Sorry.
One more question? No more question. One more question. Kodguza, you wanted to?
Yeah, but it probably will be a long answer. You all... No, I'm really curious of the answer of our guests. We live in a world where practically Live Nation, AAG or FKP Scorpio, they kind of buy over and make a whole industry of this. It's like Pepsi owning from toilet paper to big medication company to... So is the music industry or the festival industry becoming like a McDonald's? Yes, a corporation, but where we practically are monitored from what we want, on what we buy, on what we feel, and they just use the data to create other events to make more money or to create different company that target that needs, and in a way they look for our needs but can also shape that needs.
Okay, 10 seconds.
10, I would like, because it's also a good question. but as I said, like I was talking to this earlier, but I have to say the opportunities are really good because of this, because of these merging and, buying up and throwing money and killing competitions. You have all these great boutique festivals that have emerged the past like 10 years. Like in England, I even go to festival to enjoy myself. I go to End of the Road, and I just love that festival. It's my taste, and it's sold out, and it's great. So you have all these opportunities, great food, green environment, and they are not owned by those majors. So the majors are there; they fulfill other people, and that's great. But I think, and you are building a boutique festival in here, and it's opportunities. So I think it's not all negative, though I kind of hope they will not come to Iceland. Yeah, they can, yeah. If I'm willing to, I listen to, 6 digits. Yeah.
Well, stupidity is among us, and it's... the thing is, we've been running the company for many years. We are self-owned. We are 6 people, Austrians, that own the company. And 2 years ago. We always got criticism that because we were the biggest and there was no Live Nation and anything, we get the criticism that we monopolized the market. Yeah? And 3 years ago, there was another company coming into Austria. The majority control was in German hands. Yeah? And all of a sudden, the local people, also alternative people, all of a sudden celebrated this as the big alternative. Yeah? And the thing is, I mean, that I must say, I mean, of course they targeted what we did, yeah, and I think at the moment I can say we succeeded, yeah, but I can't, most probably it will be like you said, Kodruta, yeah, most probably, because people obviously don't care about that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the way how the internet, how social media controls our lives, yeah, and dictates what we are doing. The same way we don't care about where the entertainment comes from, yeah. And obviously, if I look at acts and the way they are these days and how it used to be 30 years ago when I was a gig goer, I mean, it's completely different, yeah.
10 seconds. We have McDonald's for I don't know how many years, but every week or every month we have a nice restaurant popping up somewhere. So I'm not afraid of the McDonaldization of the music industry.
McDonald's went bankrupt in Iceland. I mean it. They came and they went bankrupt.
Great. You're gorgeous. we all should visit. to sum it up, because we all feel the pressure of what's next, and yes, there is this menace of corporate the corporate monster who's swallowing the soul out of festival and events. But there are for sure alternatives. I just want to sum up some ideas that I had the pleasure to hear from our guest. First of all, the future of festival relies on some success ideas. One, own the place or discover a new place and invest as much love, attention, and I don't know, goodwill into it and soul into it. Second of all, focus as much as you can on experience and creating a good experience and co-creating a good experience with your guests. Third of it, be very careful of the codependency that you're building with your audience. Don't get too confident in the internet voice, but in the meantime, be open to new suggestions. Fourth of all, keep your character and don't forget what you like and why did you start the festival, first of it. Fifth, don't try too hard and don't push it because you risk to break it. And yeah, sixth and final, try if possible to grow steady so you have a healthy event that's there to last. I hope I catch all the insights that you gave us. Thank you very much for your time and your wise words. And yeah, let's have a beer or a wine. Thank you very much. Your time to